Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. So I'm in my kitchen today, and I want to apologize right now for the lighting. It's about to storm outside. So I'm doing a couple of different projects in the kitchen today, and I thought I would bring you along. And of course, it is Flour It Up Friday, so I'm going to do that as well. So the first quick and easy project I put together today was my cleaning solution. And it's basically citrus peels. In this case, there's orange, lemons, limes, and grapefruits in here. And all I do is just put them in a freezer bag, put them in the freezer till I have enough to make a jar. And then I put them in my jar and pour vinegar over. And then that vinegar I use to clean with. And I've done this exclusively for the last 5 years or so. And it's worked out great. Cut down on that grocery bill, not having to buy cleaners, and a lot more healthier for you. Sometimes I use a drop of bleach in it. Sometimes I mix the vinegar with some baking soda, depending on what I'm cleaning and how I need to get like stains and stuff off my counters and my bathrooms and that sort of thing. So I let this solution go for about 2 weeks before I strain it off and put it into just a regular vinegar jug that I've labeled for cleaning. And I've let it go as long as a month before. So this is my first project in the kitchen that I've gotten done, and on to the next one. So I was at Kroger and my milk was again $1.39. So we needed yogurt. And we've been eating a lot of that because it's gotten hot here. So I am making yogurt. You've seen this time and time before from me. Well, once before from me. And I'm using the crock pot, which I find really easy. And I'm making yogurt. And that's my next project. So while my yogurt's doing its thing in the crock pot, I've got out my oats. And I am going to stick with breakfast here. And I am going to make overnight oats. Now I've made this with both old-fashioned oats and these quick oats, and I've had these, I pulled these out of my 5-gallon breakfast buckets to use up, because this is the next thing that needs to be rotated out of our long-term medium storage. And as you can see, they expired back in 2023, but I've used these before and they are perfectly fine. And I leave them in these original bags because the inside is Mylar. It's a Mylar bag. So I thought it was perfectly fine to do, and I haven't had any adverse reactions or spoilage of these bags. So the next quick project I'm going to tackle is overnight oats. And we use these for snacks or for breakfast, and because I have yogurt going in the crock pot, I thought I would do this so we can have some of these in the fridge. And I am going to do a small batch. Usually I probably do about 20 cups, but right now I'm doing about 6 or so. So I will put the recipe in the description box below, and please excuse the lighting. It did start storming outside. I will turn on the light when I realize that the camera's gotten really dark in about 2 seconds. So just bear with me. So I'm measuring out my oats, and today I am using chia seeds in them. Now this is where you can get really creative with these overnight oats. You can use hemp seeds, you can use just about anything you want. I'm going to make them really plain today because one requested raisins, another one wants chocolate chips. So I'm just going to do plain, and everybody else could add in what they want. I usually do apples on them or peanut butter, so we're going to just make them plain today. At 9 times out of 10 for breakfast, we actually add our homemade yogurt to it and whatever other toppings we were with fruit on the side. So I just added my salt, and that's all that's going to be for this portion of the overnight oats. So now for the milk portion of the overnight oats. And somebody said you could use water. I've never tried that. I've always used milk, but if you want to try water, you can. So sticking with rotating and using up what I have in my pantry before I buy anything else. I'm doing some dry milk powder before I use my liquid shelf-stable milk. First in, first out. So for a sweetener, I'm going to use this fine grain coconut sugar that I have on the shelf that I bought for a project and I haven't really used up. So again, first in, first out. And I'm going to add that to my oats. Actually, I'm going to add it in the milk and then add the milk to my oats so that dissolves a little bit better. So of course, I'm going to add some spices. I'm adding cinnamon in this case. Cinnamon goes with everything. So adding in my cinnamon, and I will put the recipe below as I said, and you can make it your own. If you want other spices in it, you can go ahead and do that. So here's my milk. I've added my sugar in. That's why it looks a bit brown, but don't be disturbed. It just has the coconut sugar in it. So I'm just going to mix everything together, make sure everything is thoroughly incorporated, especially that cinnamon. I guess that took me longer than I thought to cut the light on when it got stormy and dark outside. Sorry about that, guys. So I have these individual yogurt cups, and that's what I'm going to put the overnight oats in. And it's all mixed up, and I'm just going to use my measuring cup. Not that I'm really measuring. And just pour it on in there. It should make about 6 for them to be about halfway. Let's see if my measurements are correct. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. So those 2 cups of oats made 7 individual cups, and we will have this with breakfast with yogurt on the top, fruit on the side. Some of them just dump it all out on top of the fruit, whatever they want to do. So I usually make about double this amount, but this will last us for a day. Yeah. Some people eat it as snacks. Yeah, so that's a nice healthy treat in the fridge. Overnight oats. Just plain. Nothing in it, because everybody wants different stuff on top of it. I was putting like some caramelized apples on top of it, but I didn't do that this time because some people want chocolate chips, peanut butter. That's me. So I just left it plain. On to the flour it out portion of this video. And I am going to be making granola. And you're like, granola with flour in it? Yep. I found the recipe with wheat flour. Yum. So this is actually it's all, I said this in the last video. It's all wheat. This is the darker color wheat. So it's, I don't know what part of the wheat plant it's from. But yeah, there you go. That's my wheat I'm going to be using today. I'm using cane sugar. This is different. It's the coarse one. I used fine earlier because we're going to be melting down the binder for this granola. So I thought I would use the coarse coconut sugar. I have some amaranth here. I put purple on it. It's actually red. I'm going to use some of that. I've never used that in it before, but we'll see how this goes. I have some little bit of wheat germ left, and that's why I'm trying these other things, because this wheat germ is not enough for the batch I want to make. So I'm going to try and stretch it with these other two, the amaranth, and then I have some of this 10 whole grain cereal. And it's kind of coarse, almost like cornmeal. So I have that. I had a 5 one, but we ate it all. It's kind of more like oats. And of course, the star of the show, I have some oats, and I'm going to be using both kinds of oats here. That's old-fashioned oats. This is quick oats, and you can put whatever you want. I was looking for some almonds. I don't have any. I have walnuts, but no almonds. So yeah, I don't want to do that. But you can add whatever you want. I have raisins here, some baking chips, some of that coconut left from last week, and of course some cinnamon. And I think I'm just gonna go with plain, and they can add whatever they want in with it. So now I'm just going to measure out my oats, and I will put this recipe as well in the description box below. And I am using a mixture of quick oats and old-fashioned oats. So it's 2 different sizes. I haven't really found any big difference in it, but the quick oats will, what should I say, adhere to the binder better than the old-fashioned oats because it's bigger pieces. But I'll show you that when that time comes, and you will see the difference. The quick oats will almost disappear, and the old-fashioned oats kind of stands out. So in goes my wheat flour, and then I'm putting my amaranth wheat bran and my 10 grain whole cereal mix in. And then I'm adding my cinnamon, and you can add whatever spices you like. If you like other spices, I've done like a pumpkin sort of spice in the fall time. I've done all kinds of different ones, but I'm just adding in cinnamon today, make it nice and plain sort of, and you can add whatever you want. So for my binder today, I'm going to stick with the coconut theme. So I have coconut oil, vanilla, and salt. And then I'm going to use that coconut sugar. So yeah, let's get my binder together. But if you don't have any of those, you can use butter, regular sugar, or brown sugar, or honey. I've used them all in the past, and they come out just as good, sometimes even better, depending on what spices you're adding in. So you can substitute if you like. So into a saucepan, I added my coconut oil, my coconut sugar, my salt, my vanilla, and I also added a little bit of honey. So here my sugar is all melted, and the coconut oil is melted as well, but it's kind of sitting on top, which is fine, because once I put it in the oats mixture, it will melt in or be incorporated in, absorb in. There you go, that's the word. And it'll be all fine. So yeah, we're gonna get on with this. So now I'm just gonna add my binder to my oats and flour and wheat bran mixture, and you want to make sure it is well coated, because this is what's gonna hold your granola together. So make sure you mix it really well. And I've mixed it really well, but here you can tell what I was saying earlier. The smaller pieces of quick oats take to the binder really well, and the bigger old-fashioned oats don't appear as coated as the quick oats, but they'll be just fine. So we are going to put them onto a lined cookie sheet. I am using a Silpat, but you can use parchment paper if you wish. I'm just going to spread them out as thinly as I possibly can, or as evenly on this cookie sheet that I can. So here they are patted out, and I'm going to you can see how brown they are. So you want to make sure you're checking these, because they will appear really brown even though they're not browned enough. So I put them in for 10 minutes, and now I'm turning them. The oven was at 350. I'm turning them. And then I'm going to actually pat them back down, because we kind of like ours crispy and in bigger chunks. So as you can see, there's some bigger chunks. Those are the pieces I pat down again. And then you have these ones that are not as big. So I actually patted down half of the pan. As you can see, this half is still patted down. And the other half I actually left kind of when I turned it, and just spread it out a little bit. I didn't pack it back down. And that's how you get the bigger pieces. And of course, let it cool thoroughly before you start breaking up. That also helps to get you, if you want the bigger chunks. So I actually have 2 half-gallon containers that I'm going to, mason jars that I'm going to put it in. And this is how we're going to store it and eat it. So half is going to go into one mason jar, and I'm going to put the other half into a mason jar. And here I just have some of the smaller pieces we can use for cereal. And I'm just adding some milk to it, and I'm going to try it. So this is what the rest of the tray looks like once it's cooled. And I'm going to get these into mason jars for storage. So this is what the granola looked like. I put it in 2 separate half-gallon mason jars. Probably could have fit it all in one, but yeah. This one is the bigger chunks. And then this one is the one that was in the smaller pieces. Almost like cereal. I've actually had one asking for cold cereal again, because I've stopped buying that. And yeah, between the overnight oats and this, he can pour milk over this and satisfy his cold milk crave. And I don't know if we're going to do like a trail mix or something. We'll use some over yogurt, definitely. But you can make a trail mix out of it. Whatever your heart desires. Eat it straight out of the jar like this. And that is my granola using whole wheat flour. And I have used coconut flour and almond flour in this recipe before, and it works fine. I've never used all-purpose flour. Maybe I'll try that next. But this is my recipe for Flour It Up Friday. Who knew? Granola with flour in it. It is delicious. You should really try it. So this is Flour It Up Friday. Hopefully you try it. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And click that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. God bless. And remember, stay safe and keep prepping.